Boa noite, pessoal. Bom, daqui a pouco a gente vai iniciar a palestra. Eu queria muito agradecer a presença de todos. A gente está aqui com o alemão, com o Alexander, e daqui a pouco a gente vai dar início, então, à palestra que vai ser totalmente em inglês. Então, eu vou começar aqui. Well, good evening, everyone. I will first give a brief presentation about the speaker, and then he will start the talk. Well, Alexander lives in Germany. He's a textile engineer with a focus on sustainability. Has lived and worked abroad and had contact with different cultures.
He's also professionally qualified as an industrial and commercial management assistant, in addition to economics and business administration. He has led several researches in the textile area, such as fiber reinforced composites. Today, he will speak about waste and recycling systems for German citizens. So, let's get started, Alexander.
Yeah, thank you very much. That I have the opportunity to talk here a little bit about waste and recycling systems for German citizens. And when I speak too fast or when you have a question, just tell me or ask me. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about my hometown, which is about 10,000 people. And my family has the White House there on the left side, and on the right side is my dad, and he is just giving the ton of plastic waste to the street that the people of the company, of the waste recycling company, can pick it up. So it's really quite common that you have, for example, the plastic twice a month, the organic also twice a month, and the general waste and the paper, it's depending on the area, of course, but that is sometimes once a month. So these are the 4 tons. We have on the very left one, it's for the organic, it's just organic. Then the plastic one, it's just plastic. And the general waste is the black one. And for paper is the green one. So you see they have different sizes. As in my family, we were a family of 6 persons, so quite a lot. And this is why we have a big paper one and a big plastic one, and also a bigger general waste one. And as you see in the picture on the right bottom, there is the identification for every ton. So every ton of the 4 has the identification number of the company. So the company knows what kind of ton they can pick up. Oh, okay. And the picture on top is just a phrase. It was a marketing, not marketing, it was a public relation idea of our Landkreis, which is the area where I live. It calls Ich komme zum Glück aus dem Landkreis Osnabrück, which means more or less that we are very happy to live in that area. So here you see on the organic one, the left and the middle one, what really has to put in. So you also see the LKOS, which is Landkreis Osnabrück again, and 96, that is a liter, so 96 liters. And what you can put inside and what you not can put inside. For example, that's a very simple one. So just for the rest of the fruits or the rest of your coffee can go inside, but of course not glass or plastic, ceramics, cigarettes as well not, because cigarettes, the part of the cigarette is plastic as well. And yeah, cosmetica, for example, also when it's the cotton pads, it cannot go inside because it's really only for organic. And what Germany changed last year is that it's really, because in the old days, last year, we had for our organic waste a plastic bag, which is much more better because when you put then the rest of the fruits, for example, and it's a little bit, I don't know, water inside or something like this, then the ton gets dirty. But they changed this because when you have in the organic ton a plastic bag, you cannot compost anymore. So they changed the law that you have to have a paper bag or even just the low organic waste, the loose organic waste into the ton. And not even the compostable plastic is allowed because it's still plastic. And in some areas, like when you have when the company which is collecting the waste is thinking that you might have plastic in the ton, they can scan the con and see if there's only organic parts inside or a little piece of plastic. And when they find with the scan a piece of plastic, then they don't pick up the ton. And when this is happening again and again and again, they might give you a fee so that you have to pay your mistake more or less. Yes, and on the right side you can see what we can put inside of the plastic ton. So usual the packing, aluminium foil, but no paper of course, and also no glass. And the best way to really recycle is when you recycle right away. So you can see in my house, we have on the right side, you see just the paper. So that's quite easy. And on the left side, ready to separate in the kitchen the organic waste. And as you can see here on the very left bottom, it's just the paper bag. It cannot be plastic. My mother put the plastic bag inside just to make when water comes down, that it's not directly in the ton, that you can remove that. But the plastic cannot go in the ton. And on the upper one, the small one, you can see the general waste. So everything what you're not quite sure if you can go to the recycling one or not, you can put inside there. And the bigger one on the right, that is only for plastic. And of course, it's not for free. So what I want to show you is the cost for a household in the area where I live. And the cost of the pick of the waste and also the recycling is related to the people living in a house, because this is related to the size of the ton you have. As I have here now an example, as for example, 4 people living in one household, so in a single house. And the first one you have to pay is the fee for the house, for the premises, which is 93.72, and the fee for the tons, which is just the fee of that you receive the ton. Because to hold the ton is for free, but you have to pay the fee for the ton itself. And then the general waste, which is recommended 180 liter ton for 4 persons, 106.20. The paper, 240 liters, quite big one. The organic waste, 60 liters, and the plastic recycling for 240 liters. And as you can see, you don't need to pay the ton for the paper, and you don't need to pay the plastic recycling ton. Because in Germany we have a system which is called a dual system, because when you already purchase an article in the supermarket, which is in paper or in plastic, you already paid the plastic and the paper in the supermarket, because it's going to be recycled. So you literally don't have any waste on this. And as you cannot charge the customers in the supermarket for what you will get back again, you don't need to pay for the recycling of the paper and the plastic. So basically, in the end, you pay in a year 251.16 euros. And going to show you an idea of a further waste possibilities is, of course, you can compost your own stuff, so you don't need to have the organic one. You can just put it on the compost, any kind of waste you have in the household or in the garden. And on the right side is sometimes we collect the rainwater, which is falling in the winter or in the autumn, just to have it, to give it in the summer when it's quite hot and it's not raining so much, just to give it to the plants. Because of course you cannot drink it, but it's nice to collect and give it then to the plants. What we also have is public waste collecting areas. So when you, for example, when you fix your garden and you have a lot of stuff from the leaves, from the trees or any bushes, you can leave it there on the green collecting areas for free. You can just go there and give it to the. Of course, it's a restricted area. You cannot put whatever you want to. It's just for the green. And on the left side of the picture, you see the blue collecting box is for stones, for example. What we also have is, because as you saw, we cannot put glass or aluminium in the plastic ton. So to get rid of this, you can go to these areas where you have the 3 tons of the glass, which is once I switch one mark and then I'll go back. So you see on the left side, there is Buntglas, it's colored glass. So you can, any color with is not white, you can put in there. And on the right side is just for white glass. And what you see on the right side, this is for collecting clothing and shoes, which are all right, like that you can wear it again. Yeah, that's a collection. And every ton on this has an identification. So they really see, for example, this is important when they collect it and then see that there are different kinds of stuff inside of this. They can track the ton and know that they are the people doesn't care so much about the collection. Oh. Yeah, it is. Here you see again the color of the glass you have. For example, on the right side is for the white ones, on the left one is for the colored ones. What we also have is a deposit system. So when you go to a supermarket and you drink, for example, now on the right, when you buy, for example, in a supermarket, a can of Coca-Cola or a beer, you have to pay a deposit. So as you see in the aluminum can on the top of the left, it's 25 cents, which you pay for every can. On the bottom left, you see the PET or PE plastic bottle. There you also pay 25 cents per bottle. And on the right side, you see the glass. There you pay 8 cents per bottle. And it doesn't matter which size the bottle is, or it doesn't matter which size the can is. It's always 25 cents or 8 cents. So when you go into the supermarket and you buy it, you pay this deposit. And when you drink the water and drink the beer, you go back to the supermarket and you go to this place, Leergut, and you put it into the automatic machines. And when they count your glass, they see what kind it is, if it's plastic, glass, or the aluminum can. Then you get a ticket. And in this ticket is the amount of deposit you paid already at the supermarket. So with this ticket, you can after go into the supermarket and have your normal stuff to buy. And you don't need to necessarily pay this again for the plastic or the aluminum can. You can also use it for buying pasta or whatever. And what I like is in some supermarkets, as you can see on the right side, there is a collecting system that you can donate the money of the deposit to foundation. For example, on the right side, it's a foundation of the supermarket that you can donate for abandoned animals like dogs or cats. Yeah, and of course you can also use some papers to burn it in your fire to keep in winter warm. But this is also quite strict regulated in Germany. Like you cannot burn whatever you want to. You cannot, because we have the tracking of the fibers which are going out of the oven. And when you are more than this, the guy who is doing the maintenance of the oven will know, and then you also have a problem. So you cannot burn everything, but of course, small things for papers or for wood, you can burn them. It's nice. And on the left side, it's quite new and I like it very much. In public garden and public parks, there is this kind of thing where you can when you can get a plastic bag, and then you can collect the poo of your dog. So when your dog is pooing and you don't have a plastic bag with you, then you can collect it with that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
So I will say the first question is Alexander. Thank you very much for sharing your experience in the waste collection and recycling system in Germany. Is this system applied across the country?
Yes, it is. But of course, the costs of the tons is depending on the area where you live.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the second question is my question. So, the system adopted in the country is very interesting. I believe they educate children from an early age about recycling, right? And what is the main difference you felt in relation to the Brazilian culture for recycling?
Well, what I found actually quite funny was that today when we traveled with the car, I saw that there were tons that you can separate everything. But I think you already have the system, or maybe also the infrastructure, but not all the people are doing. And in Germany, they're really quite strict with that. So really, they are, like I said here, for example, my mother is, yeah, you really also in the company where I work, the people just separating the waste. They don't put just because they are lazy to separate the plastic from the papers. They don't put it all in one ton. No, they really separate. I that is just the difference.
I have a question. Is there any kind of uh, ticket if you don't do this?
Yeah,
You have to pay, right?
yeah, we have to pay. Yeah. So
Okay.
when you're really in, like I said, in this ton, they changed the law, and it's before that you could, as you see on the very left, um, it's a paper bag, and before that it was a plastic bag, and they are really strict about this because what they found out is they want to the organic waste they want to compost because they, in the old days they burned a lot, but now they changed it to really to compost because burning is also not so ideal, and as it is organic, why should you burn it? Like there is no sense. So they want to compost the organic, and of course, when there's a plastic inside it, you cannot compost anymore because the plastic will stay. So what they really do in some areas, when you not pay attention to that, they scan the ton, they see there's plastic inside, they don't pick up the ton anymore, and as you can see, every ton has an identification number. So when it's happening again and again to the same ton, the identification of the ton, then you get a fee. Then you have to pay the fee. Did you understand?
Yes. And how does this process happen in the textile industry?
About the waste and recycling?
Yes. I repeat the question. How does this process happen in the textile industry?
For example, in the company where I work, we also have big tons to recycle. When we, for example, I worked in a company dealing with glass fibers. So glass fibers are specific waste. You cannot just put it in a general waste ton. So we separate, for example, when there was a last piece of the bobbin, it was in plastic, and inside was the last pieces of the yarn from the glass fiber. And you cannot use the glass fiber yarn anymore. So you had to pull it out manually. You had to put it out, and the plastic went to 1 ton and the glass fiber to another ton. So we also had, I think we had that for industrial waste, for the glass fibers, for example. Then we had plastic, and we had paper as well. So for example, when you had a carton for the shipment, you had to separate this as well. Yeah.
Okay, I will say the question of the Newton. How the population responds about paying for recycling?
Paying for recycling? Well, actually, as you can see here, for the paper and the plastic recycling, we don't pay at all, because as it's going to be recycled, you don't need to pay for it. Because when you this is the system of the dual. This is a system of a dual system. Sounds shitty, but it is when you already purchased your product in a supermarket of the paper. This paper, you will unpack your product, and the paper goes in the paper ton, and this will be recycled. So it's a never-ending story, more or less. So we don't need to pay at all for the recycling itself. But of course, the area where I live, so the government of that area, they equip all the recycling companies. So that is, but to be honest, in Germany, recycling is quite a big topic. And as you could see now with what they changed in law for the organic ton, they really do a lot. Like, so in Germany, it's quite common that we like to separate the waste.
Well, the system with the scanner for the waste collector is a great news. Do you know if any other countries do this?
Actually, I don't know now. Yeah, the company, like in next month, I will move to Denmark because I changed my job. And Denmark, they also have the recycling system, and they are even, in my opinion, they're even more straightforward, because when you see the recycling of our papers and our plastic, I don't know, I'm not quite sure about the figures, but they have the percentage of what is really going back into the product, is higher because they have more, they have better plans to recycle itself. Because sometimes, of course, when you have, like, let's say a yogurt or something like this, it is not possible to recycle anymore because there's something wrong with the plastic. In Denmark, they have more technology in the plants where they collect everything to separate it better. They can really separate, for example, the PE from the PET or the PP, the polypropylene. Yeah.
Okay, Leonardo Melo asked, how many markets have the recycling deposit system, like the Elsa bottle?
I mean, this,
I think so.
every supermarket has it. Every discounter and every supermarket has it. Yeah,
Okay.
because for them it's also, when they want to sell the products, they, maybe it's a law, I don't know actually, but when you selling plastic bottles, aluminum cans, or the glass bottles, you should be also prepared to collect them again. So every supermarket and every discounter has it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? I think that's it. So thank you very much, Alexander.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So we will finish. Thank you for the participation of everybody. Thank you very much, especially Alexander. And thank you of the Civil Engineering Academic Center for the great opportunity to exchange and the experiences. Goodbye.
All right.
Boa noite.